And I'll introduce myself, and maybe everyone who's here, they can offer introductions as well. But I'm Noor Pangu, and I'm the curator of this exhibition, Gives On and With Decolonial Moves, or to, no, Transcultural Moves to Decolonization. And I'm still unpacking the title, actually. I was thinking about it today, and like, how do I explain Gives On and With, even with like references to the text that it comes from? It's still such a heavy and complex sort of idea and concept. But I'm really happy that we have such a long period to really do that work together. And before really getting into the exhibition, I just want to thank Denise Reiner for inviting me to do this project at Or Gallery. I had known about Denise through my friend Pamela, who might pop by as well, and the work she's done in Canada and abroad. So it was such a pleasure. And also Lori White for, yeah, just like all their work and on the floor and just like emailing back and forth and just being super supportive. So thank you so much. And actually, Lori also has an exhibition opening today. It's an online exhibition, Shimmering Horizons. And I have a link for that. So I'm going to pop it in. But if you wanted to talk about it, Lori, feel free to do that. Don't want to put you on the spot.
Yeah, well, it's been kind of fun, like working on a physical exhibition and a online exhibition at the same time. But yes, this online project was initially going to be an exhibition in London at Canada House, and obviously got kind of adapted for online. It's been quite a long time in the works as well, but it's a sort of post-human future, indigenous futures kind of look at like ecological futurity. And it was really fun actually designing the website and trying to get like a web space to sort of convey some of the ideas when you don't have like a physical gallery space. I haven't really thought through something like that before. So it's a relief that it's now live and looks great. And there's interviews with the artists as well as their works. And then I wrote an essay and stuff like that. And then a really amazing zine response from a local artist and curator, Wes Harmon, on there as well. So it's, yeah, I'm really stoked that that's live. Thank you for introducing that.
And I put the link for the online exhibition as well. And Marianne is actually working with Wes Harmon on a project in the next few weeks or months as well.
Wes is so cool.
I know Wes, but no, they're not in the project that's coming up.
Okay, well, we talked about it a year ago, so I'm sorry. Yeah, but Wes has shown in Winnipeg as well, and their work was incredible.
With Megan as well, with Megan Mazur.
Yeah. Jennifer Smith actually curated that at Ace Art. But yeah, so I'll maybe briefly sketch out the exhibition. But before that, maybe we can just do like a round of introductions and hellos. Because yeah, let's just keep it casual and relaxed today.
I find the tag team method works. So if you introduce yourself and then tag someone.
Yeah, okay, maybe we'll start with the audience. Dhvani, did you want to go?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. My name's Dhvani. I use she, her pronouns. I'm based in Toronto right now, and I'm a graduate student at Ryerson in the Communication and Cultures program, and I'm interested in curation. So I think I saw this event. I follow a couple of you on Instagram, and I think that's how I found out about it, and I was super curious. So I'm really excited to learn more about it today and happy to be here. And I guess I don't know who else is in the audience, so I'm not sure who to pass it on to. Maybe Genevieve?
Hey everyone, my name's Genevieve and I'm based in Montreal doing my master's at Concordia. And yeah, I'm just here because Nora and I and Mariana and I go way back, back to Winnipeg. So yeah, happy to be here. Mariana, you can go.
Hi everyone, I'm here with my roommate Haley. I mentioned we're on our way to get a cat, so very exciting. But I'm so happy that we could join you all for the opening reception. Yeah, I'm really excited to be part of this project, and congratulations to everyone else that's part of it. Really looking forward to the reading groups, and yeah, just really excited for this project. Yeah, what else to say? I guess I work mostly through like a photographic or a lens-based practice, I would say. So the work that I have in the exhibition, the physical work that I have is a digital print installed in the window. Thank you, Lori, for all the assistance getting the print and installing it. It looks great. Yeah, so I'm just really excited to share some thoughts and share my work and learn from everyone else too. Maybe I'll pass it off to Zinnia.
Thanks. Hey, everyone. My name is Zinnia, and pronouns are she, her. Currently based in Tiohtià:ke, Montreal, but I'm kind of back and forth in Toronto as well. But for the winter lockdown, I'll probably be in Montreal for the time. So yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for putting this together, for Noor for inviting me, and Lori for taking care of the work as well. And I'm excited to see it up. And yeah, looking forward to I think it's really like generous to have this opportunity to work through ideas together too. And I'll be doing a little bit of that in my reading group next week, and hope some of you can make it. And I'm looking forward to seeing your reading groups as well. Yeah, so Luanda.
Hello, everyone. It's really nice to be here. Thank you, Noor, for the invitation, for participating in this gathering with so many interesting and amazing artists that some I know briefly or do not know. I'm from Brazil. I'm a performance artist based in Norway. And my work, I'm doing a master in performance here in Norway, in Norwegian Theatre Academy in the city of Fredrikstad. And my main research is the transatlantic slave trade and the Afro diaspora that results from it. So I have been tracing the roots in Brazilian folk traditions and rituals concerning to Africa and the slave trade, and what is in our own bodies, and working with archive as material itself, and the body as a living archive, as a home, as a memory, where we can updating and evoking all the memories and archives that we carry on, looking for a decolonial artistic practice inside of the contemporary art field. And yes, this is my journey so far. So looking forward to be with you in this transnational, transcultural perspective these days. Thank you.
And we also have
sorry, I need to call Denise then.
Hinsa, did you want to introduce yourself?
Oh, she just said Denise.
Hensa, I introduced myself, but maybe yeah.
Okay. Yes, my name is Hensa. I'm here to be supportive. Noor and I go way back too, and I'm based in Oslo. Yes.
Thank you, everyone, for your introductions. I'm so glad we could, get together and just like kick this project off, because for me, it's also very new and experimental thing to focus on process rather than like a material sort of presentation. So yeah, like we do have a lot of time during this exhibition and till the next iteration as well, to continue sort of thinking about these ideas and the projects and questions themselves. So yeah, I'm really, really excited to start this off. And maybe I can do a short presentation because I want to highlight some of the events that are happening and maybe some of the words that I'll be thinking about, just so people have, just like some background information. Could I share my screen? Just quickly, and then we'll go back to having fun.
The Wi-Fi might be too bad for that.
For sharing screen? Oh, Lori, would you mind making me a co-host? You click on the button besides mute. Ah, perfect. Okay. Okay, so I'm just gonna share this quickly. Yeah, just to give like a very basic sort of entrance into this project and where I am right now in the research. Just acknowledging that it's going to take shape during this exhibition and after it as well. And the purpose of the reading sessions is to sort of learn and like think alongside the artist and collective as well. But yeah, these are just some of the basic ideas and texts that I'm arriving with. So again, the artists involved in this project are Zinia Naqvi, who we have here, Ayman Al-Azaraq, who has very small kids who might not be able to join us, and Luanda Carnero Yacuel, who we do have here, Glam Collective through the space between us, who might join after as well, and then Mariana Munoz Gomez, who is on their way to pick up a cat. So yeah, it's lovely to have this group here today, and the event schedule is this. So we'll kick off the project with Zinia's reading group next week. And she'll be looking at 2 readings by Ken Lum, who is quite important in the Vancouver scene, but also in Canada. And she'll be unpacking some of the meatier questions around multiculturalism and just what it means to be making art in Canada and looking at like, huh?
Sorry, I saw Lori was holding up the book. So
oh yeah, we ordered the book.
Oh yeah, okay, cool. And then also the Concordia Press actually has contacted me via Instagram, and they have a discount code for anyone else who wants to buy the book, and we'll get like 20% off and free shipping. So I'll include it in my presentation, but I mean, see if you like the readings, but if after that you want to buy it, I can give you a discount code.
Yeah. And let us know if you have anything else to say about next week. I don't want to put you on the spot, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no, I mean, I think I'm excited to talk about, I guess kind of like some things I'm going to be thinking about is like the legacy of multiculturalism in Canada. And I really kind of resonated with this compilation of writings by Ken Lum, which is like putting together 30 years of his writings as an artist and curator and cultural maker. But I'd be interested to also, because I know he is a huge figure in Vancouver, so I'd be interested to hear your perspectives, Lori and Denise, because I feel like I was kind of introduced to his work a bit later. And yeah, so just I hope it'll be open and there'll be lots of room for discussion.
And I also forgot to mention this at the beginning, but the physical gallery will also be changing colors. Sorry about that. The physical gallery will also be changing colors, and this week it opens up with lavender, and Zinia has turquoise, so that's also going to sort of color the space and hopefully the reading session as well next week. And then next we have Ayman Al-Azaraq, who is going to be looking at the relationship between Palestine and Norway through a specific exhibition that was organized in Norway in the 80s, I believe. So he's going to be sharing some installation images and just some archival documentation from that. And looking at one particular reading by the Palestinian poet Mahmoud Darwish. So we'll be looking at some segments of a video recording rather than a textual reading per se. So that's that. And then we'll be doing a curatorial talk on February 4th, just to sort of catch up about how the exhibition is going and how the curatorial is sort of evolving through all of these gestures. And next we'll have Luanda Carnero Yacuel, who will be doing a I thought the performance was first. Okay, who will start off with a reading group for Or Gallery. And did you want to talk about that a little bit, Luanda?
Yes, I can. Yeah. We're gonna read the book of the African philosopher Foucault. I mean, the book, no, extract of the first chapter, where he's talking about the Bakongo cosmogram and specific about the Kalunga, that it's the main symbolic word that I work in my pieces as a base of the whole symbolic archive that I'm working with, that means the sea, as well the burial grounds. And it's a word that's very inside of the Brazilian culture, and it's coming from the Bantu ethnic linguistic group from Southeast Africa, from the Congo area. Ethnic group. So I'm tracing those relations between Brazil in this specific cosmogram and this cosmology, and how is this building very grounded in your culture, and how through this cosmovision of life can we talk about the transatlantic slave trade and the Afro diaspora that result on it, and use this as an archive and as an artistic language and artistic inspiration. That's what I'm doing in my work, and revisiting the meanings and unfolding the meanings of the Kalunga nowadays in the perspective of the artistic, the colonial practice that I'm doing. So it's gonna be something like that.
Yeah, and Luanda is also going to put forth some activities that readers can sort of think about and prepare before the reading as well, to like be more involved. So we can share that before the reading session, and we'll have a chance to look at this series through the live Zoom performance that we're partnering with Vancouver Art Gallery for. And yes, and we also have part of the series being installed in Or Gallery at the same time as a reading group. So yeah. And next we'll have a reading session by the Glam Collective, which includes Dr. Julie Negum, Dr. Heather Igloliorte, and Dr. Carla Taunton. And it's a collective that has been doing different curatorial and scholarly activities for the last 10 plus years. And they're also part of The Space Between Us, which is a new research collective that Dr. Julie Negum is leading, and that is interested in thinking through the gaps and also overlaps between different Indigenous communities around the world. So involving circumpolar communities, but also New Zealand, Australia, Hawaii. So yeah, we'll hear from them. And I think their reading group will look at some of the texts that they have written together and some of the work they've already done. And then I have already done the curatorial talk. The exhibition will close with Mariana Munoz Gomez's reading session. And if you wanted to talk about it, Mariana.
Sure, yeah. Basically, my ideas right now for the reading group are, I wanted to kind of basically extend my thinking, I guess, on how I've been making this new body of work, which is, I guess it's really rooted in like my consideration of place between Mexico, where I was born, and so-called Canada, where I now live. And oh, we're just ordering coffee, so I'll just put us on mute for a second.
I don't know how to get out of this. Oh my God. Okay, we'll come back to Mariana, but I want to exit the full screen. Oh my God. Okay. Okay. Okay, we'll wait for Mariana.
Thanks, Noor. Sorry, thanks for waiting. So yeah, so basically I've been looking at Leanne Simpson's As We Have Always Done a lot recently. So that's kind of the text that I proposed for now, but I would really like to, I'm doing more research on text, more specifically about like around Manitoba and around Treaty 1. So just to position myself more so in this specific place and yeah, share some text basically to encourage everyone in the reading group to find their own kind of creative way to engage with their positionality. So I'm really excited to share that.
Thanks, Mariana. And we also already have a text by, a print by Mariana in the window of the War Bookstore. And the work in progress or like dreaming projects that Mariana will include in the exhibition will similarly follow her ideas in the reading session and that work. Yeah, I'm having like a bit of technical difficulty because I have to watch out for people entering and I don't know how to do that. Maybe I'll make Lori a co-host. Okay. Did you have a suggestion, Lori? No.
Noor.
I'm the host again now, so I'll keep an eye out for that, but you're still sharing your screen.
Okay. Yeah, Mariana?
I was just gonna say, I think you can click on participants to see who's coming in, but if Lori's checking that out, then that's, yeah.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah, okay, perfect. Anyway, yeah, so I'm really actually very excited about the events and just to sort of share space with everybody and learn and read what they are reading, especially Ken Lum, whose work I've encountered before, but I've never read his writing or his reflections on what was happening 20, 30 years ago, which are still conversations that we're having. So yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to this. And before I guess like breaking out into celebration, I want to share some groundwork for this exhibition and maybe through just like quick quotes and maybe some of the theorists and people that have influenced this new pivot in my curatorial research, including Okwi and Vezor, who similarly to Edouard Glissant is thinking through linkages and networks and the possibilities of cross-cultural artistic movements. So I want to pull out this quote. If I can minus this, yeah. In the past, artists from what was then known as the margins were eager to enter what was then considered to be the center or mainstream, and the strategies of the artists were usually aligned to accomplish such an objective, namely to join the cosmopolitan sphere of artistic visibility, both in the art market and museums. However, as the idea of centers and mainstream became part of the anachronism of the cultural politics of the past, artists have oriented themselves not toward centers and mainstreams, but toward a more transversal process of linkages, networks, and diverse communities of practice. And one of the reasons I've sort of pinned this quote on the wall right now is because I'm also thinking about how, you know, there's so many shifts happening in Canada right now and also Norway that we're moving away from thinking about Western canons or the white gaze and really trying to understand how to speak from the peripheries, but also speak between peripheries, and what the possibilities and what the responsibilities as well are for generating linkages between our practices and our worldviews. So I really wanted to think through this through contemporary art, and specifically in relationship with artists that I had either like a relationship with already, like personal or professional, but I wanted to do the sort of thinking together. And that's why this exhibition, I think, most likely will be more about thinking through these gaps and overlaps rather than providing some sort of update on what's happening around decolonial art movements. So this is one approach that I've taken for this exhibition, and I'll unpack these ideas, I think, in more depth during my curatorial talk on February 4th. And yeah. And of course, I also want to bring up Glissant and Poetics of Relation, which I have here. So this was, I think, my third time reading the text cover to cover, and I did an audio recording for the gallery as well to sort of remind the audience about what a impact Glissant's ideas have had on my thinking, and how they've really provided the poetics for doing this work. And I want to share this one text from his text. No matter where one is, no matter how strong the force of errantry, one can hear the mounting desire to give on and with, to discover order in chaos, or at least to guess its unlikely motivation, to develop this theory that would escape generalizations. Poetics, precisely this double thrust, being a theory that tries to conclude, a presence that concludes presumes nothing. Every poetics is a palliative for eternity. And this is, he discusses, gives on and with quite frequently in his text. And it's a way for him to update the word to comprehend or to know, and gives on and with takes away the authoritative tone around these ideas, and really develops a more collaborative understanding of what it means to learn and unlearn together. And it's a metaphor of a tree bending with wind, that it gives on and with the landscape and the environment to really still be rooted in place. So that's one of the things that I want to explore in this exhibition as well. What kind of shapes does this sort of comprehension or relation sort of take when you're looking at artists or dialogues, in different cultural but also national contexts, and what does it mean to sort of talk about decolonization or unpack the language of decolonization in both Canada and Norway, who've had very different histories, but also motivations around this word. So yeah, Glissant is definitely very foundational in my thinking right now, or yeah, important. And I'll skip Lisa Lowe because I think I want to discuss this more in my curatorial talk, and maybe as a way of thinking through Luanda's practice, just about how the transatlantic slave trade is also linked with different histories, especially in North America and the Caribbean as well. So I think I'll save Lisa Lowe because I'm still digesting the kind of work she's doing around intimacy and responsibility. But I would recommend everybody to read her work. And finally, I just want to point to Edward Said, whose work I've read before, Orientalism, but I recently came across The World, the Text, and the Critic, and the ideas around, or the differences between filiation and affiliation, which are words, or affiliation specifically is a word that Glissant talks about in Poetics of Relation, about the need to move away from roots and belonging, to have a more expanded understanding of responsibility. But yeah, I do want to finish this book, I think, before my talk. But yeah, these are the texts that are influencing my thinking right now. And as well, are people still here? Yeah. Okay. And just, I want to like also throw some words on the wall right now that I want to maybe define or describe or sort of touch on through this exhibition and after as well. And this week, I also was part of a conference around Nordic migrations and the context there about critical race theory and Mariana was doing a talk for that, and she did a really wonderful thing in defining what we mean by these like really, commonplace sort of terms. So maybe I think one task I'll set for myself is providing some sort of definition or some sort of massaging out of these, overused words and how they might connect together, especially when we think about relation. I should have made this faster. It's a lot more to come. And echoes and chaos, especially, because in Glissant's work, he talks about echoes as coming from roots and a place, and how important it is to recognize the flashes that these echoes have when put into chaos and the chaos of the world. So these words are really important for me right now. Collaboration as well, specificity, plurality, and the process of having an exhibition like this. Again, the difference between filiation and affiliation and how they also work together. Okay, that's it. Okay, I'll just sit there for a second. But yeah, this is kind of the first iteration of a mind map that might have different arrows and like different sort of connections between each other, but this is where my brain and my heart is at right now. So I thought I would show that to everybody in preparation for the reading sessions in the coming weeks and also my talk. So yeah. Is there anything else I want to draw on? No, I think that's good. Okay. Am I still live? Hello? Okay, awesome. Stop sharing. Yeah, so that's where I am right now. So I wanted to share some of like my own thinking in progress. Because I think that's also what we will be doing in the coming weeks, just to sort of pose questions and ideas without really, having the connections or the explanations for everything. So yeah.
I have a question for you, or for anyone. So thanks for that brief tour through your thinking and the ideas behind the exhibition. But I just wanted to hear more about how the sort of physical exhibition space and the way that you're sort of intentionally curating it in these sorts of fluid on and offs and visibility and sort of increasing visibility of the community of artists that's involved, and then the texts that are kind of the next layer, the texts that are involved, that are coming in through the artists. Yeah, just to speak more about that. We heard a bit when Laurie was describing what's happening in the gallery, but yeah, I'd love to know more about how that sort of developed in conversation with the artists.
Yeah. With the space specifically, like I'll talk about like my my own idea of it, and then maybe a little bit about like my conversations with the artists. But yeah, I've really tried to make this exhibition like an exercise into like materializing how I'm reading Glissant and like digesting his calls and yeah, like his poetics in 2021 right now with the kind of networks I have in place. And when Laurie mentioned that you can change the colors of the bulbs in the gallery, like I think I made a connection with this idea of echoes that Glissant has, that, you know, everybody has a specific echo, every culture has an echo, every culture has a language that doesn't necessarily have to be translated. But the specificity of each echo is important for the chaos to happen. And I think the colors really materialize that idea really powerfully, just about how, yeah, like how different everything is and how different every mood and every week will be for this project. And in terms of the artists, I think, yeah, again, I wanted to highlight specific practices without necessarily pushing them into dialogue with the broader project or with others. So really, like for the first session, like, you know, talking directly and listening to Zinnia, and then next to Ayman, and then next to Luanda, and then finally to Mariana, and then with Glam coming in to sort of punctuate what they've already been doing for a long time, to give them the space to reflect on what they've been doing without having to translate or to fit into like a group exhibition sort of rubric. So I think it's been really, yeah, just a really fun and maybe a more ethical practice for me. But we also have artists here who can talk about what that might feel like.
I can talk a bit. Yeah, I think it's definitely a unique model, which has been very refreshing, especially in the current moment that we are in. And I know, like, you know, Noor is constantly traveling across oceans and things like that. So it's been nice to find ways to kind of check in, but the threads of both of our research often overlap. And I think like I say that because like we spoke like, I don't know, 6 months ago, and I probably said one thing, and then we spoke like last month and I was like, I don't remember what I said last month, but this is what I'm doing now. Is this relevant to what you like, what the themes? And of course they are, because I'm essentially thinking along the same threads, but like also kind of having time to address those threads, and also maybe like work through some ideas with a public. It'll be my first time doing that, and I think that that's pretty rare. So yeah, so it's exciting in that way, and especially again right now, because the idea of space is so like intangible, so, and even working right now is so difficult. So having that I think opportunity to even just talk about working with people is valuable.
Thanks, Sonia. And maybe to get into Denise's second question, yeah, I think Zinnia, like we had really great conversations about the practice of writing, but also like, you know, your interest in Kenlam and how, you know, like, you know, through different generations, we're sort of like thinking along similar lines as well, and asking similar questions without anything really getting resolved. So did you want to talk about your relation to the text and, you know, the writer as well?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna get into that more in my talk next week, but I can say that this is something I'm thinking about a lot, and even I will mention too in my talk, like even I know like Noor, you work a lot with Pamela Matharu, and that is, you know, seeing her exhibition at A Space, one of these things is not like the other, and seeing someone who I would consider like a mentor. And you know, she's been working in the Toronto art scene for like 20-30 years, and hearing about her experiences and confrontation with just, you know, colonialism in institutional spaces and things like that, and like just hearing from many different facets about how these conversations keep becoming cyclical, and how it just seems like so little has changed in the last 20-30 years. That's something that I'm hearing come up from a lot of people I'm talking to. So, and then when I'll talk about this next week, but like I recently wrote a compilation of writings, and then I came across Ken Lam's compilation of writings, and a lot of the stuff that he wrote about was very similar to what I wrote about, and I didn't read his writing before I wrote it, but it's just interesting to see, like, you know, he's saying kind of the same things 20-30 years ago, and yeah, all of these things are very slow to change, but
Yeah, and on the you know, the mention of cycles as well, with Luanda's work, like what I'm thinking, because Luanda's presenting work, or like part of series that she has been working on for quite some time, and so what it means to work elliptically as well, not just, you know, cyclically, that, you know, we're revisiting and returning to similar themes and similar concepts, but having the opportunity like to also sit with it and maybe bring some text to explain like an idea or illuminate some aspect of it. So I think at work in this exhibition hopefully will also be like different sort of movements. And I wonder if Luanda, you wanted to talk a little bit about what it might mean to to talk about the series that you have been working on for quite some time. And also if you want to mention like the importance of bringing a text to highlight some of the main ideas.
Well, I think it's first of all a great opportunity to share the work in such a large gathering, like first of all transcultural, transnational, and also virtually. You know, it's another platform, and talking about performance. That's something that is very experiential. So how to translate this in this platform, even talking and explaining it, and then showing, and via the video performance, and also showing the work. So I think it's a challenge, first of all, but it's an interesting challenge, and I'm trying to prepare myself, trying to use this platform or site-specific self to explore a creative and performative way to be with my work and present it. So use this as a game, a place to play with. So this is what I'm interested in try to make happen. And I hope that the reading can highlight some of the really foundation and inspirational, symbolic and philosophical level of my work. And I think it's very as well, it's also another platform, let's say, because this has been so much in my experience as a dancer and as a Brazilian Black woman in Brazil, raised by certain traditions, and receiving them always in an oral tradition perspective. So all this orality of that I belong to, those traditions, have been translated now through books, and then I need to translate this to people in a certain way that's more academic or more intellectual, and then the performative aspect of it in my contemporary body that is addressing all this orality through traditions and contemporary artwork. And then there is my own diaspora inside of all this, like the historical diaspora, my own diaspora from Brazil, this transnationality coming to Norway. So there is a lot of crossing boundaries and platforms and places that I feel myself navigating different spaces and temporalities. So I think it's going to be a kind of updating and evoking all this together to be with me and with you in a certain level that we can share and exchange somehow, hopefully. So yes.
And yeah, I'm really excited to also read the text with you and like, you know, read it through your eyes and yeah, talk about, you know, Kaluanga and like the meaning of like waterways and how it sort of becomes this important archive and a place of possibilities. And it's also really exciting that, you know, like the subject and like the politics sort of changes every week. And it's a nice, nice reminder about all the different things we're interested in, but also, you know, the importance of, yeah, just holding it all or just, you know, being able to witness it all together. Yeah, so I'm really, really looking forward. And I hope, yeah, Denise, that answered the question about, or your interest in the readings. Yeah, I think for me as well, I've been interested in like what artists are reading and like how exactly it impacts their artwork. Like at what point does it come? Like, is it something that you sort of like pick up in a bookstore and sort of see a connection with some past work? Or if it's like, you know, very, very old copy of Glissant then that you keep going back to, like how does it sort of sit in your practice? So yeah. And yeah, throughout that as well, like I think I want to yeah, collaborate with the artists and also share, you know, how text and written ideas are informing my curatorial and research practice. And yeah, and that's why I brought in Glissant's text and Said, and we'll, you know, delve more into Lisa Lowe as we go on. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you've sort of hit on something that I've found is more and more visible, like a curatorial practice where you do a studio visit, you talk with an artist, and inevitably your conversation shifts to what are you reading, what are the texts, and you start talking about what you know, sort of finding your common interest through texts and then returning to the artistic practice and back and forth. So in that curator artist, at least in my experience, and it seems like in yours, in that curator artist relationship, it's very much kind of this travel between the artistic practice, the text, and then that's all part of the conversation that's going back and forth. And then, but then when you go into the gallery, you have the, you know, the whatever the object, the print, and then maybe the curator's interpretation or text that might try to capture some of that conversation, but it's really that sort of relationship is never really present in the gallery. And so I felt like this was something that was that you were maybe trying to manifest in the gallery in a really interesting way. I mean, we'll see, because it's something that also has this temporal aspect. So maybe even we didn't talk about like what that means for an audience. And I know with COVID, that's not necessarily a full audience, but or physical space is open. So will people kind of come back and check in as the space changes, and then check in with the reading group? So it's just this almost like path that's retraced between the artist, the audience, the curator, the space, in a really nice way that breaks up that sort of like single event exhibition opening, here's the text, and that might not be as conducive to the way that everyone's thinking about these ideas.
Mhm. And to get back to that, I think this is also really great for me because I think this time around I also get to like share like the intellectual labor of producing an exhibition, like rather than describing or like, you know, putting it into words what the artists are doing through you know, visual practice. Like I get to like have the artist beside me to like, you know, really take people through their work. And I'm excited about exploring the more the aspect of care through this exhibition as well. So, you know, thinking more about the studio visits and the conversations I've had with artists outside of the reading sessions and outside of the exhibition, and how, yeah, just not having to write or explain what's, you know, what's on the walls is also giving me time to care and listen in a different way, and to not negate you know, like my own position and like my own thinking about these ideas, not necessarily having to merge those with what the artist is doing. So yeah, I think it's going to be exciting, and I think there's going to be like some failures that come up, like something just doesn't align or doesn't sit well together, but I'm excited for those as well. And I wish I was there in person to to really like feel all these affects. But I think yeah, it's a really a great privilege to be online right now as well. So yeah.
I had maybe a question, maybe an observation that sort of relates to what you were just saying, or about sort of making the intellectual labor of this process visible. And from my point of view, as the sort of boots on the ground person getting all of the bits and pieces ready, you have made a lot of precise choices or decisions about how works are actually displayed. So there's a couple of pieces, photographs that are like directly transferred onto windows or to walls. And then there are texts, but the things that are holding those texts to the walls are painted black. And then the plinth there's a black plinth, and the bench that you sit on to watch the video is black, and the speakers are in the space. So you're very aware of all of these sort of like the apparatus of the exhibition. It's a white cube, but you have these subtle gestures to kind of like make those things a bit more, just stand out a little bit more to a viewer. So I think that is a sort of, again, a material expression of the way that you're sort of making the workings of an exhibition visible.
Yeah, for sure. And I think with the black plinths and the black elements in the exhibition, yeah, I think like it's a slow, like subtle move away from the white cube, but also like a nice reminder of the white cube and like the color, like the lights as well. But I have to be honest, like I think throughout this like planning and organization, like, you know, the material space has been so in the back of my mind, because I feel like I also don't want to like feel disappointed come March when I haven't actually been able to see the exhibition. So I like, you know, my energy and my care is going to make sure like the virtual program is okay and the gallery is okay. Also, like in my mind, I'm thinking that it's going to be shut down because of COVID. Like, I'm being honest. Let's see. Ontario is, and Quebec as well, actually, is terrifying right now. But yeah, like I do wish I was in the space to see that happen, because in a past exhibition I did at Latitude 53, I think I was there for like a week or two, just like, you know, painting the little nails that would hold pieces of paper together. And it was like such a joy to like make small changes to the space, even though everything was going to return to its like, you know, natural way of being. But I think there's a lot of joy in sort of setting up camp as well. And yeah, it's been great to like email with you and hear about those changes. And I'm gonna download the image you sent me after. But yeah, I think for this project, yeah, space has been something to definitely negotiate emotionally and mentally.
Can we see some images of the space? I haven't seen any.
I think Lori can maybe go on their phone and I've mentioned that we're going to change colors every week, right?
If you want to talk about something else for a brief minute, I'll like email myself my phone pictures and then share them on the screen.
Yeah. I think I also want to like turn to Dhvani and Jen and maybe ask like if you have any questions or like what you're thinking about in life or, around art or exhibitions. What brought you here today?
Sure. I don't mind talking a little bit first. It was really like I was really struck by Denise's comments and yours about making the intellectual labor more visible, and just even being in this conversation. I think sometimes my head is a little too stuck in theory, but I still do appreciate hearing what texts are influencing people's practices, whether it's curatorial or artistic. And I guess what I'm trying to think about right now, and why I think making those conversations more visible is really wonderful, is because oftentimes when I do go into an exhibition and I read like the description of the art, there's often like this work is using like X theorist concept to make Y evident, and I always want to know how that process came about or where that influence happened in the actual artistic process. So I'm really looking forward to hearing more about how people are working, but also I think I read in the description that not just talking about projects within this space, but maybe things that didn't work or experimentations with ideas. And that's really fascinating to me. But I guess I'm wondering, with maybe like the reading groups and some of the virtual programming, what artists and what you yourself are envisioning with the audience's role and what they can kind of contribute and bring to the conversation. And so I'm curious, I know some of the reading groups are a bit further away, so I don't expect anything concrete, but I'm wondering how some of the artists are maybe envisioning structurally how they'll lead some of those readings and what kind of space they want to, and how they envision audience members, perhaps like bringing in some of their ideas or just the structure of some of those conversations. And yeah, there are like a couple of, just even when you were bringing up some of the ideas or texts that were influencing you, it was really lovely because in my head, I started connecting it to things that I'm reading and thinking, oh yeah, this is a concept I've been thinking about. But I was also struck by what you were saying of translating, like how to put some of these calls that are in theory into practice, into the actual like display practices and exhibition practices. And that's always sometimes a challenge, like in the idea of not in keeping cultural specificity and not translating, then how do you put that into practice in an exhibition space? And how do you make non-translation kind of evident? So yeah, these are just things that I've been thinking about, but it's really lovely to think with people. So I guess like my question, which has like been one long-winded comment, but is more just in some of the virtual programming, how people are envisioning how the audience will kind of think with and alongside the artists.
Can I give you a quick response before giving the floor to the artists? The first, oh my God, I lost my thought. So when I mentioned like failures will happen in the exhibition, like that's exactly what I'm thinking about. Like, moving some of these like theoretical and ethical sort of responsibilities and ideas and putting them into material practice. And Lori talked about, you know, what like that looks like through specific examples. But yeah, I don't think with this exhibition or any project I'll ever do, I don't think I'll ever be able to like achieve that. But I think that's what's going to be fun in trying. And about you know, not having to translate, you know, Ayman's going to be presenting clips of the video, and we'll share the title of the video by Mahmoud Darwish, but we're not translating the video itself. You know, Ayman has the choice of highlighting and translating specific words, but in our conversations, like, you know, we're both comfortable with not having to present to like a broad audience and trying to universalize some of the very specific things Mahmoud Darwish is talking about, you know, Palestine and what happened there and what is still happening. So yeah. Yeah, I think because Ayman is not here, so I thought I would jump in with that.
Oh, I appreciate it a lot. Thank you.
I can share those images of the space. They're a bit blurry on my phone. Okay, so let's just go. Purple space. And little speakers in the corner here. So this is where the reading groups will be projected. And then the text, my brand new copy of the text, which is also purple, in the space, and that's with the recording of Noor reading from the text in the bookstore. So it has kind of a relationship to the other texts in there as well. Purple space. And then this is just from the outside last night, the washi paper transfer Mariana did. Works pretty nicely on the window. It looked good. Text again. That was just during the day with the light and the reflection of the street. Yeah.
Thank you, Lori. Yeah, I really wish I could walk past that bookstore in real life.
A lot of people were coming up and looking in the window. So I think like the activity in the window, and then also the fact that we now have our bookshelves installed again is really like people are engaged.
Yeah. Oh, that looks so good. And I wanted to quickly mention that the gallery is going to change over the course of the weeks because it's going to accumulate different work by the artist, and lighting is going to change too, just to make sure that the specific work is not washed out. So I just wanted to highlight that. But there are going to be videos and the archive of these conversations displayed in the space as well. So yeah, maybe each reading session we can ask Lori to share images if you have time, question mark. Yeah. But yeah, I wanted to also return to Dwani's question to the artists, if we do have time, right? Yeah, we do. Just about how you are envisioning the, like, without having to go into too much detail, because I know you're also thinking about some activities or questions for the audience, rather than an artist talk or just a reading session. So if you wanted to mention that today. Zinnia, go.
Yeah, so I am like, I mean, reading and writing kind of go hand in hand through processing as well for me. So so we're going to be like starting off with a writing prompt that doesn't really have much to do with the text, but also just kind of thinking about space and time. And then basically I'm just going to be like asking some questions and pulling some quotes from the texts, and also giving time to kind of write responses to them. And yeah, we'll just be like conversing. I'm just interested to hear people's thoughts, and I'm also showing work in progress, the projects that I'm working on. So I'd be happy to just basically hear feedback and have dialogue from people. Yeah.
I love that. I'm really looking forward to it next week.
Thanks.
Well, me, I can talk a little bit. I'm thinking. I'm also in process, like to creating strategies. But my goal is to give somehow experience or embodiment level of this symbolic universe that I work with by sharing my work, but also creating some tasks that can engage you in another level, not just the intellectual level of it, but that the audience can somehow embody and experience it and relate this with yourself or your own life or political perspectives, cultural perspectives, but how can we cross, symbolic universes through the reading, but experiencing it. And I don't know how, but we will discover together.
I think that's really exciting, and I'm looking forward to how you experiment with like embodiment on Zoom, because I've been seeing people do some really cool and interesting things with the platform. So I also am excited by what you said of thinking about the spatiality of like Zoom itself and where we all are. So, and the fact that I think even now we're all in multiple time zones too, and I can tell by just like the lighting in everyone's room. So it's really exciting.
Yeah, my parents actually don't know I'm in a different country. That's why So yeah, very quiet on all social media platforms. But yeah, also Jen, did you have any comments or questions for the group?
I don't have any questions, just overall pumped about this this project. I know I'm seeing like these ideas that you've been trying to develop over the years, Noor, in your practice, and I'm seeing it kind of like in its more like fuller form in this exhibition. So it's kind of nice. But yeah, just like, I don't know, my master's, like my research is, I'm also interested in like inter or cross-disciplinary approaches to like networks. And yeah, just like, I guess exploring that in like an artistic, but also academic kind of lens is pretty great. And yeah, I think this exhibition is doing that quite well. So yeah, pretty pumped.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually funny that you say it seems more fuller now, because I feel like I'm more like all over the place and thinking in so many registers that I can't even put together a curatorial statement. But I think I'm growing in that, and it's really exciting. But yeah, I'm really excited for you to join us in the coming weeks as well.
Yeah, there's so much potential in your approach. You know, there's theory, there's hands-on like artistic based projects, there's different mediums, there's like the politics of space and place, and emotionality too, I think is just really important, especially when you consider like just like the bleakness of academic stuff. So yeah, just kind of pumping in some real life into these sort of projects is it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I actually like when I came across Glissant's work last year in Norway, actually, maybe like a few days before I met you, Luanda, or we had a studio visit. Like he was like a star that just like, or this book was like a star that just like popped out of like nowhere and sort of had the language like describing like my desires for like my practice, but also the world. So I think I wanted to like share and like also like learn about how other people approach like texts that just like move them so much, or not. But yeah, I think it's going to be really exciting to like pump life and energy into just writing and practice as well. So yeah, I'm really looking forward.
Yeah, I feel like,
And
oh, sorry. I was just gonna say that I feel like Glissant is just gonna live on forever. People are always interpreting his texts in different ways across different times and different places and different contexts. Yeah, shout out to Glissant. He's awesome.
And I actually recently saw an exhibition or like the online promotion for an exhibition called Relations, I think, which just closed at the Fee Center in Montreal.
Oh,
And
yeah, totally.
yeah, it was just about like focusing on like the medium of painting, but through these ideas around relation. And I think they quoted Glissant as well. And I was like, oh my God, I wish I was there.
I mean, you don't really want to be here right now during COVID. You really don't.
I would have driven there maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, we do have to end soon. So I'm just like wondering if, yeah, we could just have a soft, lovely ending and maybe discuss the food the next meal we'll have, or yeah, what is an exciting part of our day.
Yeah, sorry, I was kind of up and down. I was making rice, which I was kind of like, that's a transnational activity. so yeah, I'm eating some rice and like this like red curry that I made. So lunchtime here. So yeah, thanks Noor, and everybody. Nice to hear from you all.
Thank you.
Yes, I live in a collective, and I live with a scenographer. She's also studying in the same university. She's doing a master in scenography. She's from Italy, and she's making risotto with fungi. So I'm excited to eat that after talking with you guys. And I want to also say thank you for this gathering, and I'm really looking forward to know you more and meet the audience through these days.
Thank you. I can go now, I guess. Yeah, but I probably am gonna after this go to the gallery and have a peek. But maybe get some lunch on the way. And there's this, Lori knows it well, there's this wonderful Japanese kind of lunch place, Manpuku, that has tempura, tempura and rice dishes that are every one of them is amazing. And it's kind of a treat because they're just, yeah. So I'm gonna treat myself at the end of a week. So, yeah.
I too will be having a celebratory dish, but it's going to be one of those elaborate donuts from across the street with sprinkles and everything.
I guess I'm working on like an event and some research to do with archival objects. So this was really like invigorating and really inspiring to be here. And I'm looking forward to thinking about it more over some chicken kebabs that my mom has kindly made. I'm staying with her for a few weeks and she is lovely and is the best cook in the world. So I'm very happy right now and very hungry.
Jen?
Well, not much to do here in Montreal, but I am meeting a friend in an hour for a coffee and a walk before the snowstorm hits later this weekend. So Maybe have a glass of
Yeah.
wine tonight.
Tonight.
It's
Oh,
still kinda
that sounds
early.
lovely. Yeah, I want to thank everybody who came and also like helped put this exhibition together. Yeah, start off by thanking Denise and Lori for just like their incredible trust and support throughout this. I will definitely depend on it over the coming weeks. So thank you so much, and the artists for just like being generous with their research and their energies. And I'm really just looking forward to our conversations and hearing from you. So thank you for that. And also, I think thank you to the audience. I think the most thank you to you for just being interested in the work we're doing and bringing your own energies into this. And please attend the next reading sessions if you have time and capacity. I think they'll be really rich, and we'll be hearing from about a lot of different contexts and futures. So please come. And I think I'm having crackers and cheese. Right, Hinza? For dinner. So yeah. But I'll have more exciting food next time. I'll be cooking. So thank you, everyone. I hope everyone just has a really great day or night. And I look forward to the next few sessions.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Nora. Bye, everyone.